Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I am your ever-loving host, Shorty. And today, back in the store. Meant to review this yesterday, but we had some people come around and had to be, well, people come around. I had a delivery due and an electrician around. It's not like I'm having a party in the middle of a pandemic. I literally had people coming, so I had to get work done. So I didn't get anything done at home, unfortunately. I was going to review this, but I figured I did enjoy reading it, so let's review it now. And when I say enjoy reading it, I don't want to give the impression straight away that I'm like, oh my god, he's about to rant and rave about how absolutely amazing this comic book is. There is a few issues with it. And if you know me by now, you're not probably going to like anything which is a mixture of horror and western. Just, it's the way my mind goes. One of my favorite genres, horror and westerns, when they clash together like that, just brilliant. I want to remind you of more than anything else is Grim Prairie Tales, which is a very obscure movie with Darth Vader in it. And it's just a really nice portmanteau of two people in the middle of the night out far west in the desert telling stories around a campfire. And this kind of feels like it could be one of those stories. That's not a major criticism, but it does feel like it's the intent is more, let's just tell the story rather than like the backstory. Let's not worry too much about really detailed personalization of the characters. Let's just have a little bit of fun with the fact that we've got vampires in a Wild West setting. And it's like, yeah, okay, cool. I would prefer a little bit more depth, if I'm completely honest, but if it's trying to do something and succeeds in doing it, my personal viewpoint shouldn't really matter too much as long as it's doing what it's supposed to do. And it does what it's supposed to do. Let's start at the beginning, shall we? We get a mid-1840s, I think, as a setting point, and my Western head instantly goes, well, I'm going to be paying attention to the weapons here, because there'll be double-action revolvers, almost certainly cap and ball, rather, and so on, because that's the time period. And then it jumps forward to a far more appropriate time, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, this is actually more Western time. And you do get some rather interesting brutality very early on, but not caused by vampires. One of my favorite little things to do in a Western horror story like this is, yes, you've got bad guys and monsters, as it were, but there's nothing they can really do which is worse than humanity. It's a simple thing. It's not the most complicated, but this entire thing is not very complicated, and I'm okay with that, and it works quite nicely. One of the other things I really quite like is when it jumps forward, there's a clear indication that we're dealing with a character who was a child in a previous bit of it, or younger person, who we're now going to catch up with later in life. And it's not too subtle about that, but it does wait until pretty much the end of the comic book to actually confirm it. So it leaves you guessing. You spend quite a bit of time thinking, well, hang on, is this who we think it is? Is this foreshadowing leading somewhere else? When it actually gets to the reveal, it's not a big surprise moment, because, as I say, it's what you'd expect from the trope, but it's nice that they kept you waiting for it. And the other thing I really like is when you're dealing with vampires in stories, there is a tendency, and I've done this myself when I've put vampires in my own stories, to have them as not just bloodthirsty fiends of the night, indestructible by the sun and a stick through the heart, but you don't have them as stronger and quicker, more competent fighters as well. And yes, within mythology, it certainly makes sense, but there's no reason why that's always going to be the case. And in this one, you very much get a sense of that. Somebody just literally punches a vampire in the face and he goes down. And we know it's vampires, or at least with damn certain vampires. Look at that cover. So I gave a bit of extra light on there. Literally, bat wings. It's vampires. We know it's vampires. And here we get to one of my problems with it. I'm going to try and find a page which sums it up quite nicely. Mr. Vampire, not Mrs. Vampire, talks in white in a black box. And again, without much light, you're probably going to see that much detail on it. But the lettering is just a bit of a letdown. It needs to be a lot more bold if you're doing white on black. Otherwise, it is just going to get lost and look scratchy. Thankfully, you can make out everything that's being said. But there's a couple of times you have to stop and go, okay, hang on, exactly what's going on here? Okay, so that's basically what's going on here. Yes, I like it, but do I think necessarily it's fantastic what it is? This is a hard one for me, because with a title like Midnight Western Theatre, again, that gives you a sense of just quick down and dirty stories, almost penny dreadfuls, if you will, the kind of thing that you'd pay a little bit to go and see late night grindhouse kind of movie house. And it is that. It is doing everything it wants to do perfectly. It set itself up to be what it is, and it hits every mark and every beat that you're expecting. The fact that it never quite amazed me or surprised me is mildly disappointing, but as I've said, it's doing what it's supposed to do, and it does that well. There are cool action sequences. There's a great bit with the skeletal horse. skeletal horse. Sorry, don't know why I pronounced it that way. And when you do get into the idea of the violence and of the time, it works quite nicely within the setting. It's everything it should be. It's a great Western. It's a great horror. It's not necessarily the most in-depth character study. And when you put vampires in there, you've got a lot of other stuff you can use that to talk about. But sometimes just vampires are enough. And I'm quite happy with this. Anyway, that's it from me. I don't think I have time to review anything else this week, so probably won't see me now again until Tuesday for the unboxing video. So take it easy, stay safe, bye.